Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be doing my episode review for the latest episode of The X-Files. Dum-dum-dum-dum, da-da-da-dum. It premiered last night on Fox, and of course, I just finished watching it just a few minutes ago. It's been a pretty busy night here at the EdWord, and before I get into it, of course, please be warned that this is a spoiler-filled episode review, so if you're not caught up on the X-Files, do not keep watching or listening, as I will be going into spoilers. That being said, spoilers from here on out starting now. So, I really enjoyed this episode, like really enjoyed it. This was possibly my favorite episode of this season. You know, it had the vibe and the feel of a Monster of the Week episode, even though it wasn't. It had that vibe or that tone of one. You know, it was an episode that primarily took place in the deep dark woods. It was in here in the middle of nowhere, USA, in this place, a place called Mudlick, Kentucky. Mudlick. What a name for a small town. And it also featured one of my favorite X-File characters, Walter Skinner. You know, this was a Skinner-centric episode, and it gave us a really cool backstory to him. You know, it showed us what life was like for him in Vietnam when he was in the Marine Corps, and gave us a pretty cool backstory. And this episode also just reaffirmed his loyalty, his allegiance to Mulder and Scully, and I think theirs to his as well. Even though Mulder had some doubts earlier, I think he's slowly beginning to trust Skinner once again. And Haley Joel Osment was in this, and he was great. He was two characters. He was like the crazy Vietnam vet, and then he played his son as well, which was pretty cool. And he was a great creepy character in this. And even though the word monster was thrown around, it wasn't exactly a Monster of the Week episode, but it did have a pretty cool, scary, deep backwoods monster-looking costume. And the whole episode was just great. Like, it was very Skinner-centric. It had a Monster of the Week vibe or a theme to it, and it had a really interesting story, and it revealed some interesting things about Skinner, about why he has remained where he has been for all these years as the assistant director of the FBI, and why he is the way he is, because it's like now he is determined more than ever to get to the truth of the matter of what happened to his buddy and what happened to those other guys who were exposed to this weaponized toxic gas that they wanted to use in Vietnam. And clearly that's what happened to his friend, and that's what happened to several other guys. And as we saw, he was picking his, he's had some blood on his mouth, and he picked his tooth. And clearly what happened to those guys is happening to him. And then we also saw a backflash of him killing a young Vietnamese boy who was going to kill his buddy. So he turned the gun on Skinner, turned the gun on him, and gunned him down. But you can tell that it bothered him, and it also bothered his friends as well, or at least some of them. And Skinner is a man with a strong moral compass, like Scully says, but he carries around such a tremendous guilt or weight on his shoulders from what he did and saw in Vietnam. But like I said, this episode just reaffirmed his loyalty to his two agents and his loyalty to the truth. And now he's determined more than ever to find the truth, to find out who was behind this weaponized toxic gas that was used in Vietnam, in the Vietnam War, and what happened to all those men who were exposed to it, and if it is indeed being used on American citizens, much like Haley Joel Osment's character Davey suggested. And I loved how the episode ended with several shots of planes. Like, there's a big passenger plane going across the sky, and then there's a smaller airplane that's doing crop dusting, and there's his voiceover explaining his theory or the possibility that they're just spreading this gas to millions of unsuspecting Americans for the purpose of mind control and just singularly controlling millions upon millions of people. It was just this conspiracy filled stuff that really made it feel like an awesome, authentic X-Files episode. So it's like it had a little bit of everything. You know, we had a character-centered episode, Skinner. We had a vibe or a tone to the episode, Monster of the Week, and we also had the conspiracy. The conspiracy. There may be some truth to what he's saying. Type of theme in this episode as well. And it was all made for an incredibly, very, very entertaining episode and very, very enjoyable. So enjoyable, in fact, I may rewatch it because I enjoyed this episode so much. Like I said, it took place in the creepy dark woods. There was this cool monster costume, not necessarily a monster. I love that moment when Mulder's in the trailer and he opens up the closet and he thinks that he just sees this costume just hanging there from the coat rack, and then when he goes out of the trailer, he raises his head up. You're like, oh shit, he was there the whole time. And that was the only oh shit moment. How about Davy's death scene? Right when he's about to kill Mulder and Scully, Skinner decks him right in the face and stops him from springing his trap. But of course, during the scuffle, he sets off the trap and it comes down and lands right on top of him, which is like one of the most bizarre, possibly one of the greatest death scenes on TV ever. How he just lays there and this thing falls on him and it's so fast that he doesn't have a chance to move and it kills him like right there on the spot. And he was a pretty elaborate, clearly he was a hunter and he was pretty good at coming up with elaborate, scary, threatening booby traps. And he ended up paying the price for it as well. So this was just such a great episode. Man, it's really, God, it still has me smiling of how good it was. This was so damn enjoyable. If I still have the energy, I may rewatch it again later tonight or at least sometime this weekend because damn, it was good. It had some great Mulder one-liners. It had some, there's just so much about it. Like this episode was like a representation of what makes the X-Files so damn engaging and so entertaining. At least that was my takeaway from it. So, what did you guys think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Is it one of your new favorites like mine? Did you not really care for it? Please leave your thoughts, opinions, and your feedback down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear from everybody. You've been doing such a good job with that lately. Give yourselves a big round of applause for leaving all sorts of commentary and feedback. I absolutely love it and I encourage it. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget, the X-Files airs new episodes every Wednesday night on Fox. You can catch new episodes there, also on Hulu as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the EdWord and like this video for more episode reviews like this one and much more great content. Have a great rest of the night, everybody, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.